Hey everybody, so it is day 8 in Spooktoberfest, and just doing a bit of an update. I've got the majority of I haven't done anything with the base, but I've got the majority of the base painting done, the first layer of paint, before doing washes and then lots of weathering and just sort of different effects. Like I'm going to be doing some rust effects, some slime effects, some different things because these are the nurgle guys. For those of you guys that don't play 40k that have been sort of interested in still following these series of vids, nurgle is like an evil god in this game. There's 4 of them, and he's one of them, and he's the god of like decay and pestilence. And so a lot of the models that you use in the game that are for that, they're all sort of necrotic and like mutating and just sort of gross. That's sort of the idea. So right now, despite the fact that I've done some sculpted and some mutations, and they naturally come like with this aspiring champion, like he's got a horn and he's got spikes coming out, so he's got things going on that are already chaos nurgle related, but what I'll be doing is just weathering these up. So they are quite bright, being white as their base paint, but they're going to really get a lot dirtier and grimier real quick once I actually start doing several different things to them, like various washes and stuff. So the only thing I have done so far in addition to base paint is I have on like the nurgle symbol on his shoulder, I've dry brushed that, and then on like the sort of pustules I've done the same thing on most of them. Also on the cracks in the armor, like you can see here, you know, I've dry brushed areas and weathered areas that have some like holes and stuff coming through them, and so I think it looks better that way, and it should show up through the washes better. I may have to do, depending on how it goes, I may have to do it again, like some additional dry brushing later, but I do like to do that and get some pre-highlighting prior to doing the washes. I also did the same thing with sort of the pustules coming out here, and dry brush the armor that I sculpted cracking as it's going through it. Let's see here, and some of the ones that have the really large holes look quite good after doing the dry brushing, because it really creates, even before you have the washes, it creates quite a bit of contrast, which I think is kind of neat. So so yeah, like I haven't painted the eyes yet. I'll probably do that later. I've done the majority of the weapons. Let's see. I used Caliban green, and then did a little bit of dry brushing of warped stone glow over it, the layer. Let's see here. So I like the way that looks on the shoulder pads and contrasts with the gold for the Death Guard. I think it's come out nice. Let's see. But yeah, like you can see another pustule there that's sort of just coming out. So yeah, it was quite a bit of work to do. You see, even though I did airbrushing, which takes more time than people think. I think a lot of times when folks think you airbrush, they think you're just going out like with a spray can or a rattle can and just spraying them and coming back in the house, and there you go. Doing the priming as I do, and doing sort of shading, like a couple of layers of paint of shading with the airbrush, and all the cleaning of the brush involved and all of that, it's not nearly as quick as a lot of people think. It's more that it gives you, like I find it a bit more economical than the spray can, but also it gives you just a bit more freedom to do some things, but it's not always as fast, and sometimes it's comparable to just painting with a brush, depending on what you're doing, in my opinion. Certainly just base coating and just doing like a layer of base coat over everything versus a rattle can is it's going to be fast, like it's similar to doing a rattle can, and faster than a brush, but it's so I guess back from rambling, the after doing the base coating and all that stuff, doing all the detail on the the boots and things, like with the gold. In this case, it's actually Vallejo bronze that I used, not gold. But and doing that on the shoulder pads and getting all that painted, that took quite a while of time. But yeah, I think it's looking pretty good so far. And it's funny, right now I find the brass and the dark deep green almost gives it a bit of like it's sort of like an elven look, almost like that sort of color scheme, but it'll quickly go away once I start doing all the weathering. And I always bring my guy out for reference, like even here, like it doesn't look elvish once you start doing all that weathering on the cloth and making it all grimy and everything. But it's just funny because my daughter's painting up wood elves and I do Biel-Tan, right, which is green, and so it seems like I'm always doing green and white of some form. So okay, well, as I'd mentioned in another video, it's Canadian Thanksgiving coming up this weekend, so I probably won't have another update until early next week on these. I'm looking forward to making more progress. The weathering is sort of one of my favorite parts in doing models. I actually love doing the special effects, like whether it be blood or rust or grime. Like I love, like in the washes, I love like kind of bringing it to life and bringing that realism look. But Warboss Tay did say the question of the week for this week is, what is your like most fond memory of Halloween? And you know, it's easy for me to immediately think of like my own memories as a kid, but probably when I think about it, like probably my favorite memories were the first times I brought my own kids out on Thanksgiving when they were really little, and just sort of them in their really tiny costumes, like where they sometimes, I think with my oldest child, she could barely walk. Like the first time she went out on Thanksgiving, like I could walk her a few steps, and in Canada that year it snowed and there was just ice all over the place, so it was like slipping all over the street, you know, with her walking in her little costume going from door to door. And I liked sort of the wonder of seeing like your little kid the first time, like experiencing being in the costumes and going to the doors and getting candy and all these people kind of yelling trick or treat and all that stuff. Like it's just kind of, that would be probably my best memories. So okay, hope you guys have a great weekend and talk to you later.